As always, the lines are open 011-542-2186. We're on all social media platforms, and joining us live in studio is Victor Bogopane, otherwise known as Doc Shebeleza, a South African Kwaito veteran, a star in his own right. We're expecting Claudi Motsoneng, former SABC Chief Operations Officer, in studio as well. Good evening to you, and thanks so much, Doc, for joining us. I mean, it's a sad day, I guess, for artists who obviously had legitimate expectations that the 90% policy would be sustained. What's the next move? What do you do now?
Yeah, it's like a death to us, because you find people who are well educated, well weaponed, they will talk about the financial gains and stuff, but forgetting about the African content. The music itself, because you go overseas, you go to Nigeria, they play Nigerian music, you go to USA, they play their music. I think present is kind of a political issue whereby people, they will say, oh, because it's coming from Hlaudi the ex, or Hlaudi with his team. It's sad, because we want to hear Tsonga music, we want to hear Venda music, we want to hear Afrikaner music, we want to hear everything in all radio South African broadcasting stations.
Yeah, so you're saying that the board essentially is pressured to have reversed this policy document, which flouts the whole radical economic transformation agenda. You know, how then can you reach radicalism if you're not willing to make unpopular decisions? Exactly,
because most of the so-called board, what they do is that they put like the financial gains, the 90%, is going to be a problem with their financial to sustain the SABC. But everybody, each and everybody, a person, when you start a business, you take a risk, you know. But the most crucial part is that you can't cancel 90%. We're talking about even the board themselves. They don't know whether their great-granddaughters, they're going to be musicians or actors or something. We deserve 90%.
All right. I mean, on the side of the musicians, you have assembled yourself, organized yourself, and spoke in a united, a compelling voice.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is something that would be considered in the interest of musicians, your livelihood, the legacy, the preservation of culture, etc., or is it more about the profits and bringing the organization back to a financial, rather healthy state?
Yes, financial part of it is crucially important, because they need to sustain the SABC. But the most also important part is that even though they're focusing on a financial gain within the SABC, but I'm a South African. I'm an African, I'm a Zimbabwean, I'm a Zania, I'm Maputo, I'm a Mozambique. But the most crucial part is that, can we brand ourselves as South Africa? It's a good, you know, when Claudi and his team at the SABC announcing that 90%, 10%, it was a good story to tell. We can't ignore that. And I understand most of the people, they don't understand to be a musician, to live as musicians, they've been exploited. Production as actors, they've been exploited. But we're saying, can we brand ourselves and be proud of who we are? That's the bottom line.
Yeah, and is it also more a black artist concern in the fact that they're more disenfranchised, albeit because of the lack of you know, running your own agencies, managing your masters and intellectual property, that we find more and more black artists are the ones that are on the poverty line?
That's one part of the sad story, whereby you find that even if we're talking 90% and 10%, the Afrikaner, the Indians, the whoever, they benefit from that. But when we raise our voice, when we raise our consent, you find that minority of white people, they're not there. The Indians, they're not there. But at the end of the day, they benefit because their music, their content is going to be played within the SABC. And not only the SABC, because SABC is it's a powerhouse. Automatically, you find that community radio station now, they will fall into a place and play our product. But it's sad whereby, even Claude, when he mentioned that, everybody were excited. But There were no white people who participating and acknowledge what the decision had been taken by the previous board.
Yeah, but how did you move then from what some might call a victim mentality and a sense of entitlement from the artists to engaging policymakers at a strategic level to ensure that when a decision is made, it is for the benefit not only of the musicians, the audience also appeal to it, and the organization can make money out of it?
Well, you're on point, but the fact of the matter, we need to understand who we are. I can't say because I'm a Tswana person and say, okay, for me to be exposed as a Tswana or a Venda or Sotho or Xhosa or Zulu, I need to look at the financial muscle within the family. Because if I'm well-weaponed financially, I can't say, okay, taking the money has been identified by the clan or the family to assist my family. I'll say, okay, that 2 rand, 4 rand, when I give it to my cousin or my aunt, it affects my financial gain. It becomes problematic. I understand. Yes, we need SABC to be sustainable. But the most crucial part is the board, the present board. There are a lot of things that they need to address. The issue is, that's what I'm saying, it's a political issue because of Hlaudi. Hlaudi is not my friend. But I respect Hlaudi for the decision that he's taken as a radical change. Yep. Nobody respected the musicians and the actors, the productions. They've never did that. Yep. We've been there, Mahlatini Mahotela Queens. You talk of all the great icons
who are not celebrated. All right,
exactly.
Let's take a caller. Buhle, thanks for your patience. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Cindy. This thing of scrapping of this 90% is really worrying. The question number one that I'm asking, the new board members that are acting, do they have any of their members that is actually having financial qualifications? Because you're wondering how did they get, to those figures to justify the loss that is being caused by, the 90% local. It doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, but I'm sure that they would have made sure that the necessary competencies are there. And over and above, there's the Auditor General's report and the former Public Protector's report that were talking about, the happenings within the SABC, not forgetting the ad hoc committee on the SABC's board fitness to hold office. But I guess what you're saying is has this thing been ventilated enough to, as you were saying, that there are many other issues that plague the SABC? It can't be that it's just the 90% content that has led to the demise of the SABC.
Yes, it's a fact, because I think that's why when I say, I want to repeat myself and say my biggest problem is, there are a lot of leadership within our country who did well. And let's focus on a person who did well. We don't have to say just because it's Hlaudi. Zuma did well. You can mention all the leadership of our country who did well. On my space, the 90%, it assists my kids, my great-children, and my great-grandchildren to sustain and also to protect the legacy of South Africa, Africa. But the decision that has been taken is like, okay, the 90%, there's a financial loss, the 10%. What are they saying? Did they consult the musician? Did they consult the local contact? They didn't.
Yeah. What are you planning next? Because the musicians are saying they're going on a war path and you will not stop until the policy is reversed.
I think for the past 6 years since Hlaudi was there with his team, it's not about Hlaudi. Hlaudi's got his own team. Because Hlaudi has left the SABC, but he left the legacy for 90% and 10% and beyond that. When last did we see musicians, actors, the workers at the SABC toing? What can we consider that? He's been there for the past couple of years. There was no toito. We happy, we excited.
All right, Victor, let's take Lucky. Thanks. You're going to be the last call on this. Hello to you.
How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very well. I have a big concern about what is happening about Hlaudi. We seem to love what white people love and hate what white people hate. So the thing that's happening now, you see, because 90% is positive for black people, that's why white people and DA is against what is happening right now. So this, I think, black people should look at this matter with a keen eye and start to look at what the DA is up to, because this is white monopolitical capital.
Appreciate it. That's Lucky calling us from KZN, saying that we need to self-reflect and introspect and ensure that the black agenda, particularly in all sectors, is also adhered to, and we can all share in the prosperity and wealth of this country. But thanks so much, Doc Shebeleza. Victor Bokhupane, otherwise known as Doc Shebeleza, South African Kwaito veteran artist, speaking to us on the latest 90% local content has officially been scrapped from the SABC. We take a quick ad break. We'll see you shortly.